DaCara Thompson's parents just want her home.
It's been hard. It's been hard.
DaCara Thompson's parents are desperate for answers. They just want their daughter back home. Right now, it feels like we may never get the full story out of the suspect.
Still under investigation. It appears that DaCara willfully entered a vehicle being driven by Hugo Rene Hernandez Menddees, 35-year-old male, out of Bowie.
Goe's Menddees. How did he even convince Dar to get into his car in the first place? She had left her purse inside her own vehicle, which was parked in a no parking zone. That alone shows she wasn't planning to be gone long. She even told her father she'd be right back. When police arrived at the scene, they found all her belongings still in the car, her purse, her debit and credit cards, even $60 in cash. None of it was touched. So why would she willingly leave all of that behind? And what's even stranger is this. Why on earth would Menddees take a random girl back to his own house where his family and children live? Asterisk.
Just came to the scene. We did discover that all of her personal belongings were in her car, such as her purse, her credit card, her debit cards. She even had $60 cash.
Most people trying to cover their tracks would go to a hotel or somewhere private, not straight home to their front door. It just doesn't make sense. Personally, I don't think this was random at all. Something about this whole situation feels off, like there's a bigger story hiding in the shadows. And here's where it gets even darker. Reports claim that investigators allegedly found women's underwear inside Menddees' bedroom. That sends chills down my spine. Are we possibly looking at a man with a pattern? Could Dar have known him before all this went down? And what about his family? How much do they really know? Because it's hard to believe nobody in that house noticed anything strange. To make matters worse, this case has sparked heated conversations online. Some people are saying that when it comes to movements like BLM, a black life only seems to get attention if it was taken by someone white. That's the kind of talk fueling even more outrage. And it shows how divided the reactions around Dar's disappearance really are. People online are already twisting this tragedy with some cruel voices saying illegals don't count, and that's why there isn't more outrage over Dar Thompson's passing. On top of that, social media has been polluted with wild theories accusing Dar of selling herself, which only makes this nightmare worse. By now, most people know the basics of what happened. Dar was first reported missing by her father just before 9 p.m. on August 23rd. He told police the last time he saw her was the night of August 22nd. When she didn't come home like she said she would, he called her phone, but she never answered. The only thing he got was a text from her saying she was going to get gas and would be right back. After that, silence. She never returned home. On August 24th, her family used the Find My Phone app to track her location. That led them to Jasmine Terrace and Riggs Road in Hyattsville, where they spotted her car still sitting there. They called the police right away. The car was the youngest of 5 siblings, and they all shared locations through their phones, but when they checked hers, it had already been turned off. The last ping showed her near that same intersection, then nothing. For days, the family held on to hope, even though they were terrified. One major red flag, her bank account hadn't been touched at all. No money withdrawn, no charges, nothing. Then came the devastating blow. On August 31st, around 4:50 p.m., Maryland State Police responded to a call about a disabled car on Route 50 near the South River. While checking the area, troopers spotted a body down the embankment about 30 feet below the bridge. Their worst fear had come true. The car was gone. On September 3rd, detectives finally sat down with the car's family and confirmed the heartbreaking truth. They had officially identified her. The family had shared photos and investigators said she suffered skull and facial fractures. Her loved ones could only recognize her by her tattoos and jewelry, a devastating reality no parent or sibling should ever face. But here's where the story takes a sharp turn. Surveillance footage from August 23rd at exactly 3:06 a.m. shows Dar leaving her white SUV and walking from Jasmine Terrace down Riggs Road toward University Boulevard in Hyattsville. The cameras then caught her stepping into the parking lot of a business on University Boulevard, heading straight for the driver's side of a black GMC Yukon Denali. She spoke to the driver for a moment, then casually walked around to the passenger side and got into the front seat. That SUV registered to none other than Easy Menddees, who lived on Cambridge Drive in Bowie, Maryland. The connection was made. But here's the piece that makes no sense. When Dar got into his car, she left her purse sitting inside her own SUV, which was illegally parked in front of a fire hydrant. Who does that at 3 o'clock in the morning? Purse, cards, cash, all just left behind. Was she planning to be gone for only a few minutes? Was she in a rush? Or did she feel so comfortable with Menddees that she didn't think twice? And what about her phone? Did she switch off her location tracker herself or did someone else do it? These little details change everything. The timing, the spot she was picked up, the fact her belongings were untouched. It all screamed suspicious. Was this a planned meetup or did something unexpected pull her into that car? Detectives weren't taking any chances. Later that same evening, just before 9:00 p.m., they rolled up to Menddees' house and spotted the black Yukon Denali parked right out front. They wasted no time applying for a residential search warrant, which was approved. Then, in the early hours of September 4th, the investigation around Menddees' home officially began. Before police could even serve the warrant, they circled back to Menddees' house, and what they saw was chilling. Court documents say a man walked out, climbed into the front seat of that same black SUV, and that's when detectives made their move. When questioned, Menddees allegedly claimed he had been at Galaxy nightclub on University Boulevard in the early morning hours of August 23, ironically, right across the street from where Dar was last seen getting into his SUV. He told officers he was supposed to meet up with his ex-girlfriend that night, but claimed it never happened. When the questions got tougher, he quickly shut down, denied having anything to do with the car's disappearance, and asked for a lawyer. But what happened next destroyed his story. Once the warrant was executed, investigators uncovered a nightmare inside that home. They reportedly found what they believe was Dar's blood along with a broken white and pink French manicured nail matching hers. In his bedroom and even in the trash. They discovered hair, a wig, more blood evidence, and several pairs of women's underwear and lingerie that didn't belong to Dar. This wasn't just suspicious, it was damning. That was all the police needed. Hugo "Easy" Menddees was arrested and hit with first and second-degree homicide charges in the gruesome passing of 19-year-old DaCara Thompson. ICE immediately issued a detainer, labeling him a criminal illegal alien, and promised Dar's family that justice would be served. But the horror didn't stop there. Investigators now believe Menddees ended the car inside that very bedroom during the early hours of August 23, then loaded her body into his SUV, drove out to Route 50 near Annapolis, and heartlessly tossed her over the bridge into the South River like she was nothing more than trash. Just think about that for a second. Someone calmly driving along, transporting a body, then discarding her as if her life had no value. That level of coldness feels straight inhuman. And here's the kicker. He wasn't alone in that house. People were living there when all this was happening. Police questioned them, too. One resident told investigators they lived with their family in the same home and that they were cousins with Hernandez Menddees along with 2 other roommates. The cousin admitted she couldn't believe her own family member would be capable of something this monstrous, but also revealed something strange. That in the 2 weeks leading up to Dar's disappearance, she barely saw him and his behavior had suddenly changed. One cousin even admitted she told Hernandez Menddees straight up, confess. She later explained that during questioning, her husband Hernandez and another relative were all taken in by investigators. But out of the 3, Hernandez Menddees was the only one who didn't walk free. The very next morning, federal immigration agents stormed back to the home, this time to haul her husband away. She swore her man had nothing to do with the crime and that he cooperated fully with detectives. She couldn't understand why her cousin's homicide case somehow triggered an immigration case against her own husband. Meanwhile, another roommate dropped a chilling detail. They claimed they heard Dar and Hugo having intercourse in that bedroom, followed by a strange grunting noise, as if someone wasn't enjoying what was happening. Hours later, when that same roommate woke up, they noticed the black GMC was missing from out front. They immediately thought it was odd since Hugo usually doesn't work on Saturdays and that SUV was normally parked right outside the house. Other witnesses in the home tried to distance themselves. A third and fourth person told police they didn't know anything about what happened that night, insisting they lived on the opposite side of the house from Hugo. But let's be real, how much did they really see or hear? Could they be keeping quiet out of loyalty, fear, or maybe even self-preservation? Because between the cousins' uneasy comments, the husband suddenly being snatched up by immigration, and the roommate's eerie testimony, it feels like this family is sitting on pieces of the puzzle investigators desperately need. And here's the bombshell. This isn't even Hugo's first run-in with law enforcement. Long before Dar's name was ever tied to this tragedy, Hugo had already built himself a rap sheet that reads more like a reckless driving handbook than anything else. From traffic violations to prior police encounters, his background paints the picture of someone spiraling out of control long before this case. So, the real question is, if Hugo was already a known problem, why was he still out here free to move the way he did? Because looking at everything now, it's hard not to think this entire nightmare could have been prevented. First off, we're not just talking about one DUI. Hugo had multiple. Then, throw in the open bottle charges, riding around with booze in the car like he's headed on a party trip. That alone screams recklessness, but what it really shows is a clear pattern of behavior. He didn't care about rules, laws, or anybody else on the road. Add in tickets for OP.